I want to make sure the colors are fairly accurate. Well, hello. It's Saturday. I think it's Saturday everywhere. Welcome to this English lesson where you get to ask questions and I try my best to answer them. I know that for some of you, this is kind of an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the crazy English language. I am using a new phone today, so I just want to again check to make sure that everything is working. I think the colors still look a little bit washed out, but we'll have to live with that. And it sounds like the audio is working good. Let me know in the chat if it does not. So the way this works, the chat over there or down there, wherever the chat is, please try to have conversations in English to practice your English with other English learners. If you have a question, there will be a link that you can use to a form. The form puts the questions into a nice spreadsheet for me. And I try to copy and paste them back, and I try to answer them as best as possible. If you're new here, thumbs up are great. Subscribe if you're new. But let's get started right away. I'm going to do one more check to make sure that down there, wherever it does look like things are working. I'm very thankful. I hope they keep working. I hope my phone battery doesn't go dead. It's at 88%. So we'll see how things go. First question is from Ahmed, and I edited Ahmed's question just a little bit because there was some private information in there. But Ahmed says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. What do you think about homeschooling? How do you expect the future of education will be?" So homeschooling is when you teach your kids at home by yourself as a parent. Okay, so in Canada and in many countries, you can send your kids to school. But you can also homeschool your kids. When you homeschool your kids, you have to get up. You can't really have a job because your job is to be the teacher for your own children. I'm sorry about the little Streamlabs logo up there. That's not supposed to be there. Maybe it'll disappear later. Now that I pointed to it, you're all gonna notice it, aren't you? Sorry. What do I think about homeschooling? Well, I like it when my kids go to school. We have been teaching our kids at home with help from their teachers online the last couple of days, and it's hard work. So I don't think I am going to become a homeschool parent anytime soon. Next question is from Vitali. Vitali says, "Hello, Teacher Bob. It's the first day of non-working week here in Russia." Excuse me. "Would you recommend to us your favorite books or movies? Still can go outside but want to reduce it." So favorite book, always The Martian by Andy Weir. Look it up, it's science fiction. You can always read The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings and then watch The Hobbit and watch the Lord of the Rings movies. That's a great suggestion. That would be a lot of reading and a lot of movie watching for this time. Let's see here. Next question is from Daniel from Czech. "Hello, Teacher Bob." Hi, Dan. "Could you please explain the meaning of the word dare? Thank you." When you dare someone to do something, you kind of, you're like thinking they won't do it, but you're trying to make them want to do it. So you say, "I dare you to climb that mountain," or "I dare you to go outside and run around yelling like a crazy person." So it's when you want someone to do something crazy, or when you want someone to do something you don't think they'll do, and you say, "I dare you." Basically saying, "I don't think you'll do it, but I dare you to do it." So it's a tricky word, though. I'm sure there is an equivalent word in all of your languages. Let's see here. Igor says, Igor from Russia. Hi, Bob. Hi, Igor. "Could you please spell out for us what is the difference between catch up on and catch up with? Thanks in advance." So that's a tricky one. When I have to catch up on something, like if I'm watching a TV show each week and then I miss a couple episodes because I'm busy, then I need to catch up on it. So I need to catch up on that TV series. It means if I watched episode 1, 2, and 3, I need to still, and episodes 4, 5, and 6 were on television, but I missed them. I could say I need to catch up on it. When someone is running far ahead of me, I would say I need to catch up with them. Okay, so slight difference there. Catch up with them. It sounds like I'm saying ketchup, like when you eat a hot dog or a hamburger and you put ketchup on it. It has the same pronunciation, by the way. When you catch up with someone or you put ketchup on your food, it's spelled different, but it has the same meaning. Let's see here. Elias Gomez from Brazil. "Hello, Professor Roberto. So that's, I think, the Spanish version of my name, Roberto. In French, I'm Robert, but in Spanish, I think, or Portuguese, I think I'm Roberto. Just to thank you for your excellent work. Your channel was the best recommendation I've ever received from YouTube today. Thank you so much. Well, you're welcome, Elias. Sorry to say that Roberto was the Spanish spelling of my name and not the Brazilian Portuguese spelling, but I think they're the same. Hussein has the next question. The next question is, hi Bob, please don't forget to make a video about job interview, which is very important. You know, I might do that this week, Hussein. That is a topic that you have brought up, that you have mentioned a few times, and maybe this week, Tuesday, maybe I'll make a video about that. That would be kind of fun. Let's see here next. Mary says, hello Bob the Canadian. Hello Mary. I wish more teachers were like you. Well, you know, it's good if all the teachers are different. It gives you a little bit of variety in life. But Mary says, hello, Bob the Canadian. I wish more teachers were like you. Is there any difference between the words proverb, saying, and adage? And do you have a favorite proverb? So the common word to use is the word saying. You know, here's a few English sayings, here's a few French sayings, here's a few, but proverbs are a little more, that's kind of an older word, and adage is an even older word. We don't use the word adage very much. So the most common would be to use the word sayings. You know, here's a few English sayings, here's a few English sayings that you can learn. Let me just try something for a sec, everybody. I'm gonna try, no, I better not try. I should not try anything while the live stream is running, should I? I should just let it go. Seems to be working fine. Here's a few, but proverbs. Yeah, I'm not going to push any buttons right now. Let me clean up my questions. While I'm doing that, let me just say I hope that you are having a good day today. It is a strange, strange world right now, isn't it? Hi. Oh, Wee says, hi, Teacher Bob. Hi, Wee. How do you feel about online class and what is inference? Thank you for teaching English. So I'm going to have to look inference up so I don't get it wrong. But in English, when you infer something, it means that you kind of communicate the meaning. So infer is a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. So based on that, I'll tell you that if you know that you walk into a house and you know that the mug of tea is still warm, but there's no people, you can infer from that there were people there recently. That's some good tea. I put too much honey in my tea this morning, but it's yummy and sweet. Let me read that again. When you reach a conclusion based on evidence or reasoning. So you would say, well, there's no one in this house, but this mug is warm, that therefore I can infer that there were people here earlier, or I can conclude that there were people here earlier. Let's see here. Vita, Ukraine says, hi Vita, I hope things are going well in Ukraine today. People often use the word lift and sometimes attic. What is the difference? Thanks in advance. So in Canada, we use the word elevator. In the UK, I think they use the word lift, and it refers to, you know, when you push that you want to go to the 5th floor and the doors open and you walk in, you push the 5, and then the elevator in Canada, or the lift if you're in the UK, goes to that floor. An attic is actually the topmost part of a house in Canada. So in my house, we live on the 1st floor. We have a 2nd floor. And then above that, we have an attic. You can't live in the attic. There's no rooms in the attic. There's a little hole in the ceiling on the 2nd floor, and you can kind of look in. And there's insulation to keep the house warm in the attic, but we do not have an accessible attic. Some houses do have an attic that you can go into, and if you have an accessible attic, we usually use it to store things. We don't usually use it for other things, okay? So that's what an attic is. So different than a lift for sure. Let me see. Solange says, hi Solange. I actually watch a YouTuber named Solange from Quebec. Solange says, hi everybody. Bob, can we say to a child, for example, so I changed the sentence there a little bit. Can we say to a child, for example, stop, you are over the top, take care. So when someone's over the top, they're too much. Their behavior is quite crazy, or it's just something that's driving you a little bit nuts. I don't know if you know that English phrase. When something drives you nuts, it means it's making you go crazy. Whoa, those were great. Did you see those were crazy eyes? makes you go a little bit crazy. So you could say that, but I would probably say to my kids, you're too much, okay, instead of over the top. You could use the phrase over the top, but I would use too much. Elias Gomez, thanks for the super chat. Elias says, hello, Professor Roberto. Yes, his name in Portuguese is Roberto, and you pronounced it right. Yes, I wonder what my name is in Chinese or Japanese. That would be interesting to find out someday. But thank you so much, Elias, for the super chat. That is very awesome of you. Let me get to the next question. Henry from Taiwan. Hi, Teacher Bob. What's the difference between retain and remain? Thank you. So when you retain something, like when you're sick, you can retain water. That means that you look a little bit swollen because your body has extra water in it. You are retaining water. You are holding on to water. When you refrain from something, it means that you don't do it. So some people refrain from smoking, or they refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages. That means that they don't do that activity. And then if you're singing, sometimes songs have a verse and they have a chorus, and we also sometimes call it a refrain. So it's a musical term as well. Deekshanch, hey, it's good to hear from you, Deekshanch. Deekshanch says, hi, Bob. What is the difference between soil, clay, and earth? We just use the same word. So first of all, hi, Deekshanch. I hadn't heard from you for a couple of days. It's good to hear from you. It says, so soil and earth can be used interchangeably. When Jen and I go out to get a bed, a flower bed ready to be planted, we work up the earth or we work up the soil. Clay is actually a type of soil. So in Canada, in this part of Canada, my farm has clay soil. It's very slimy and sticky. I don't have sandy soil. Sandy soil is a lot more like the sand you would see at the beach. So clay soil is more like a mud and a sticky soil. And sandy soil is obviously a lot more sandy. Owen de Leon. Let's see here. Owen de Leon says, hello, Teacher Bob. My question is about a while and a while. What's the difference? I hear this frequently a lot in restaurants and places. So I have to look this one up because I use it when I speak, but I don't use it when I'm writing. So a while with no space is an adverb that means for a while. Okay, whereas, let's see, generally you should use the two-word form when following a preposition. So I will read for a while. That doesn't make a lot of sense, actually. So you need to wait a while, or you need to wait for a space while. Did you get that? They mean the same thing, though. That's why I'm not sure it's too big. It's not that big of a thing to worry about because the chance of you having to write it down is rare. So if you are saying a while with a space or no space, I don't think anyone's going to worry too much. Let's see here. Fabio from Italy. Hello, Bob. Oh, by the way, the difference between a while and a while, you can look that up and get a really good explanation of it. Let me check my audio. That's why I'm... Excellent. So I'm going to pause for a sec and say thanks for being here. No, that looked like I was waving by. We're not done yet. We're going to go for a while yet. But if you're new here, though, if you're one of the 518 people watching and you are new, please subscribe. It's great to subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this. And if you see people in the chat who have a green name instead of the normal color and a little crown, that is because they are members. I just want to thank all of you who are members and help support my channel and the work I do here. It's awesome of you. Let's get back to the lesson, though, and find the next question. By the way, if you did want to join, there's a button for join and there's a button to subscribe. Subscribe is free. Join costs you a couple dollars. Let's go here. Abel. Let's see here. Abel says, hi, Bob. I am Abel from Taiwan. Thanks for teaching. Could you please tell me the difference between take time and spend time? So I'm going to take some time this afternoon to relax. I'm going to spend some time this afternoon relaxing. There's a slight difference there, but they do mean the same thing. Okay. So green. Yeah. I'm not sure if I said green or not. Sorry, I lost track now, Sean. Anyways, Vitaly says, is the postcard of the Bronze Horseman in St. Petersburg on the wall behind you right above Rayo Jesus? Yeah, I can't really see too clearly, but I try to put up a few different postcards each week. Let me get back to the question though, everybody. So if you take time to do something, it means that you decide to do that thing, okay? If you spend time doing something, it means you're doing that thing. So there is a slight difference. Maybe this afternoon I was going to work all afternoon, but I'm thinking it is important that I take time so that I decide to not work all afternoon. So I take time to relax. And then I think when you spend time, it's just a description of any time you do something. Right now I'm spending time on my computer doing a live stream. Later today I'll spend some time having a nap, hopefully. Let's see here. Next question from Nathan GR. Hi, Teacher Bob. I have a phrase, white collar crime or embezzlement, but I'm not sure if it's right. Thanks in advance. So a white collar crime is usually a crime that's committed by someone in a business, and it usually involves something like embezzlement. So you use the word embezzlement. That's when you, in a company, you make fake invoices so you can pay yourself for things that you didn't do. So you create like this fake way of making the company pay you, and you embezzle money from them. So a white collar crime would be like if you rob a bank, that is not a white collar crime. If you work for a large company and you find sneaky ways to take money from the company, that would be a white collar crime. And not a very nice thing to do. No crimes should be committed ever. Let's see here. Mustafa, what do you think about coronavirus, when this virus effect will be over? I don't know when it will be over. I do know that I usually like being at home a lot. I'm quite content to be home and on my computer, but I have to admit that it's been 3 weeks now of us being home, 2.5 weeks, and it's starting to feel a little bit crazy. I feel like I need to be allowed to go somewhere soon. I won't. I will be staying self-isolated. We are only going out to get groceries. But yes, I'm not sure. It's not a lot of fun sitting at home all the time. So I hope all of you are doing well out there. Let's see here. Nicholas Hung from Vietnam. What kind of phone are you shooting live at the moment? Sorry, because the quality of the video is really cool. So I'm using a Google Pixel 3 XL. That's my current phone. I was using an Asus Zenfone 3, but I switched to the Pixel 3 XL actually a couple months ago, but I couldn't use it for live streaming because I had audio problems. But right now, it seems to be working great. So yes, I'm using a Google Pixel 3 XL. It was on sale a few months ago, so I bought one, and I've really, really enjoyed it. This is not an endorsement for Google phones. Let me get the next question. Regina, hello, my favorite teacher. Hi, Regina. How often do Canadians brush or clean their teeth? In the morning, after every snack, or after they're pray in the evening before going to bed? So here's what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to brush your teeth every morning, after lunch, and before you go to bed. What do most Canadians do? They usually brush their teeth in the morning before they go to work or school, and they usually brush their teeth before they go to bed. That's what I do. I know I'm supposed to brush my teeth 3 times a day. I only brush my teeth twice a day. So now you know, yes, I did brush my teeth this morning. So there's a past tense sentence for you. I brushed my teeth this morning. Irina from Ukraine. Hi, Teacher Bob. Please explain the difference between because of and due to. Thanks in advance. So let's see here. I wasn't able to buy a new car because of my brother borrowing money from me. I wasn't able to buy a new car due to the fact that my brother borrowed money from me. They're slightly different, and I'm just going to give you those 2 example sentences because it's a hard one to explain. I would just use because as much as possible. You know, I can't do this because my brother borrowed money from me. I can't do this because I hurt my leg running the other day. They mean almost the same thing, but In most English speech, you will hear people simply use the word because when they have to state something like that. Let's see here. Next question. Israel, hi, it's me again. My nose is itchy today. Sorry, I keep touching my nose. It's maybe if I drink some tea, it will go away. Israel says, hi, it's me again. Greetings from Mexico. How do you pronounce use and used? So listen to these sentences. When I drive, I use a car. So that's U-S-E. When I drive, I use a car. That's not a great sentence, but you get the point. That's how you pronounce use. The other day, I bought a used car. Notice now I'm talking about a car that is not new, a used car. So use and used. There's just a little "d" at the end of used. And what does stick mean? Well, stick has a lot of meanings. When you get a piece of wood from a tree, we just call it a stick. When you have something like tape, you can stick it on things, right? So when you have something sticky, you can stick it on things. So it has a lot of meanings. I would look it up. There's probably more meanings than just those. But that is what I would say stick means. Sometimes things stick to you, right? Like maybe you have a nap and you lay down and your kid had some papers there. When you wake up, one of the papers is stuck to your head because the paper is sticky and it can stick to you. So I use stuck and stick there. Hopefully that's not confusing you too much. Next question. Hi, Bob. I'm Sundari. I'm Indonesian, currently live in Hong Kong now as a domestic helper. Correct my sentence if it's wrong. Thanks. Well, hi. It's really good to see you. So domestic helper, we would probably use different words for that. We would probably use, you might be called a cleaning lady. If you take care of kids, you might be called a nanny. If you are someone, you might be called a house cleaner. You might be called an au pair, which is a French word, but it means, I think, the same as nanny, someone who lives and works with the family. So there are a number of different words for that. But if you are saying that you are a domestic helper, it could mean that you just do cleaning, but it could also mean that you take care of children. So let's go to the next question. Valfrido, what city do you live in? Do you live on a farm? So I made some corrections there, Valfrido. What city do you live in? And do you live on a farm? Okay, just a couple corrections. I live close to Hamilton, Ontario. If you go that way, you'll eventually get to Hamilton. But I do live out in the country, okay? I work in a small town close to me, but I don't live in the city. I live way out in the country, which is kind of nice because when you self-isolate and you live on a big farm, you can go outside a lot and not have to worry about running into people. Let's see here. Next question is from Isabel Lopez. Hello, Teacher Bob. I need your advice. I'm trying to learn the English verbal tenses. What is the best way to learn? Thanks. So I'm not sure where you are in your journey, but I usually encourage students to think about when they're learning to use the present tense, the future tense, and the past tense, to start to think about trigger words. Vitaly. My address is down below, Vitaly, if you want to send me something. I usually recommend, Isabel, that you use trigger words. So think about whenever you use the word later or you use the word tomorrow, you need to use the future tense. So later I will go for a walk. Tomorrow I will go for a walk. Think about when you say the word right now, you would say things like right now I am walking. And think about words like yesterday. Yesterday I went for a walk. So try to attach the use of the verb and what tense to use by triggering it with a time indicator. Okay, so tomorrow, yesterday, next week, last week. Notice I'm pointing to the future and to the past. That can really help with those three tenses specifically. When you get into conditional tenses, it gets a little trickier, but try that for now. That might help you a bit. Let me clean up my questions here. Let's see here. Polly from HK. Polly from Hong Kong. Hi, Teacher Bob. It's been a while since my last time at your live lesson. Well, welcome back. My question is, I find it's a bit harder to catch up with the British accent. US one is way easier. Why? So first of all, a little correction there. It's a bit harder for me to catch or to understand the British accent. The US one is way easier. It might just have to do with how much you have listened to each accent. They're really, when you start learning English, there's only pigeon mail, airmail via pigeon, Vitaly says. It might just depend which one you started listening to at first. But generally, if you have never listened to English and you are starting to learn it, it shouldn't matter which accent you are trying to learn. Hey, I'm just going to pause for a sec. There's a lot of questions happening in the chat, and I do read some of them, but it's kind of hard for me. But I do want to say to Funda Tunk that if you sent me a postcard, I can't find so far, I'll find one and I'll send you. My address is below if you ever want to send me a postcard, by the way. And I'm unable right now to go to the post office to get all my mail every day, but I will go and check next week. So thank you for those of you that do that. This would be a good time to say thanks for watching. I'm not stopping the video. Why do I keep making it sound like that? All I'm saying is thank you to the 581 people watching. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up are always welcome as well. Let's move on to the next question. It is from Ferris. Hi, Bob. What does make measures mean? I've been hearing this term a lot on the news. So I'm not sure. One sec here. So we do have a phrase to take measures, okay? So right now, the government is taking measures to prevent the spread of this virus. I'm not sure about make measures. We usually say take, so you need to take certain measures right now. That means that you need to do certain things, okay? So the measures that you should be taking are washing your hands frequently, social distancing, staying home, only going out for essentials. Those are the measures that you should be taking. Let's see here. Ross Affleck. Hi, Bob. What's the difference between used to and be used to? So when I say that I'm used to something, it means that it's something that I'm comfortable with. So I'm used to live streaming right now, okay? Just a sec. Yes, I'm used to live streaming right now because it has another meaning. I'm going to explain it a bit. I'm used to live streaming because I've done it a lot. I'm fairly comfortable being on camera and doing a live stream. But if I say, oh, this is tricky because I could say, I'm used to drinking tea. I'm used to it. I like doing it. I'm used to it. But if I say I used to drink tea, it means that I don't drink tea anymore. Did you get the difference there? When you're used to something, when I say, I am, notice I am used to working on the farm, okay? If I say I'm used to working on the farm, it means that I've done it, my muscles are growing, and it's no problem. I'm used to it. But if I say I used to work on the farm, it means that I don't anymore and I did it in the past. So the difference is having the word am. So if I say I am used to something, it means I'm good at it and I've done a lot of it. If I say I used to do something, it means that I don't do it anymore and I did it in the past. Whew, I hope I explained that well. I hope you could understand the difference between those two. Lolly Lolly, bonjour Lolly Lolly. Bob le Canadien, please, what's the difference between how about you and what about you? Merci beaucoup. If I say to someone, or if someone says to me, how are you? And I say, I'm fine, how about you? It means the inverse, like just tell me how you are doing. If I say, what about you? I think it means the same thing. Like if you say, hi Bob, how are you doing? I'm fine, how about you? If you say, hi Bob, how are you doing? And I say, I'm fine, what about you? You can use them interchangeably. I think how about you is the most common. If I say though, oh, I've been running every day, what about you? I've been running every day, how about you? I think they mean the same thing, Lolly. That's a great question. In my sense right here, I think I can use them the same way, in the same way. Let's see here. Next question is from Siad Akil Shah from Pakistan. Thanks, my lucky stars. I found a great in you, Bob. Thank you. How are you? I'm good. I have a mania for learning English. You would say that I'm really into learning English. If you wanted to say that you're excited about it, you could say I am totally into learning English right now. And there is trepidation all over the world about coronavirus, correct? Yes. So trepidation is really another, we don't use that word a lot. It's definitely used, but trepidation would be that you have some fear for something. Fear and trepidation or anxiety. Let's see here. Renata is here, but I see you changed your name a little bit, but I recognize the Kobata at the end. So Renata says, hello, Bob. Is the COVID-19 situation in Canada under control? I hope so. We think it is, but we don't know. It's really hard to know if you have this under control. I would say that we did what we needed to do, and now we're waiting and hoping that what we are doing is helping, but we really don't know. My two sisters who work in healthcare have said that so far, so good, but they're worried that there is going to be a lot of new cases next week. So ask me next week and the week after, and I'll give you an update. But right now, it's bad, but it's not severe, okay? That would be my description of it. Maybe Sean from Free 99 can give us an update in the chat, how things are going out in Eastern Canada. Let's see here. Next question, Abdullah As-Saluma. Abdullah says Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, sometimes I have trouble differentiating between the name and the greeting, but thank you. Could you tell me some tips for learning academic words? So as you learn English, eventually you want to learn words in your field of study, we would call it. And the best way to do that is to read books in your area. So if you are an academic, if you are someone who works in a university, or you are a professor or a teacher, you just need to start reading books in your subject area. So in English, that's what I would recommend. Next question is from Eugene, my friend from Etobicoke. Eugene says, so by the way, Etobicoke is close to Toronto, and I know it looks like a weird name of a city, but it's Etobicoke. That's how you pronounce it. Hi, Bob. How are you protecting? How to protect our mental well-being during a crisis? Well, there's a few things that I heard recommended. In fact, a YouTuber yesterday named Matty Hapoya, I'll put his name here. I think that's how you spell it. He did a video on what you should do. And his suggestion was, get up on time, have a shower, exercise. Don't wear like your comfy clothes around the house. Like actually wear a shirt as if you're going to work, and just kind of keep going that way. And definitely have a routine that you do every day. Let's see here. Next question. Eduardo Danielski. Hi, Bob. What about the expression, what a shame? It's similar or synonymous to what a pity, or depends on the situation. It could be a little bit offensive. Thank you. So when you say what a shame, it's usually like if my friend's son quit university, I could say, oh, what a shame. He's so smart. It would have been better if he stayed there. Would I say what a pity? No, I don't think I would. I think I would stick with what a shame. So you use the expression what a shame when a situation occurs where you wish it hadn't, right? Where the person should have stayed in university. So you say what a shame. He's so smart, etc., etc. Mahdi Al-Shamari. Hey, Bob the Canadian. Hi. How can I know if I speak English very well or not? I mean, how do I know what is my level in English? Excuse me. So I recommend that you take a test. I know it costs money, but if you schedule a test, like one of the official tests, like a TOEFL, a TOEFL test, or an IELTS test, IELTS, they do cost money, but it can help you learn a lot more English as well. If you decide to register for a test and the test takes place in 3 months, you'll study a lot of English because you know the test is coming, and then you will also have the test results. So for me, I actually took the French test at Alliance Française in Toronto. I can't speak French right now. And I scored on my B1, I think I scored, I forget the number, but an 81. And on my B2, I scored a 78. So and then it tells you how you did on the reading, writing, listening, and speaking portions. So taking a test is just a good way to motivate your learning. And it's also a good way to know where you are at. Lita has the next question. Lita says, hi, Bob. The difference between customers and clients, they're pretty much the same thing. Usually if it's a retail store, like a grocery store, we would call them customers. If you run a business, like if you are a hairdresser, you might call them your clients. Customers are people who shop and buy things. Clients are usually customers who always go to the same place to buy something, but you can use them almost interchangeably, okay? So if I was, let's say I was doing tutoring, I would have clients or students. If I sell flowers, I have customers, okay? But Jen does have people who buy flowers from her every week, who come to the farm, and we call them clients. So you can't go wrong just using customer, by the way. Customer is more of a general term, and that will help you a lot. Let's see here. I'm going to skip the next question. It's a little tricky. Let's go to this question. Lily from Vietnam says, could you recommend some tips for teaching English to children because they seem to be very active and easily distracted by other things outside? So first of all, Peppa Pig is an awesome television show for kids. Duolingo is a great platform or tool to use to help kids learn some English. Duolingo also has Duolingo stories, so look that up. I'm just going to put Duolingo in the chat so you know how to spell it. So I would recommend certainly watch Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig is a very funny cartoon made for kids. And I would recommend that you buy some children's books that your kids can start to read and do a little bit of Duolingo. I think there might even be a kid-only version of Duolingo. Is that? I'm not sure if anybody knows that. Kids Lingo? Maybe not. Yeah, don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. So Emilio says, great job. Thanks, Emilio. I appreciate that. Let me, for kids, check my audio. How can we keep learning when we get to the intermediate level? So you're a beginner, you're intermediate, you're advanced. When you hit intermediate, you're past all of the simple things and you need to find someone to talk to in English, okay? So I say this every week. I know that it does cost money, but if you use a website like Preply, there's a link in the description below for Preply. You can hire someone and you can start to have one-to-one English conversations with them on FaceTime or Skype. Preply is a great platform for that. So when you get to intermediate though, make sure you're still reading and writing and listening and speaking on your own. Make sure you are still doing that. If you do a search for Bob the Canadian, a plan to learn English in 2020, or the best way to learn English, I kind of outline a way to do that. So that's one thing that I would highly recommend though, is that you start talking to someone, let's see here, to start talking to someone in English. Let's see here. Abel says, hi Bob, Abel from Texas. My question is, does the phrasal verb stuck up mean that you really like something and don't want to get rid of it? Thank you. No, when you're hung up on something, you don't want to get rid of it. So let's say Jen wanted to throw out this mug. I could say, no, I'm really hung up on this mug. You know, it's really something I want to keep. When you say that you're stuck up, let's see. Yeah, no. So stuck up can mean arrogant. You can say someone is stuck up. Like you can say, oh, that she's really stuck up. It means that they're kind of arrogant and don't like to talk to you. And you can be stuck up a tree. Like if you climb a tree and you can't get back down, you are stuck up in that tree. Let's go to the next question. Let's see here. I'm not sure what this question is. It's from Martsan. So sorry, Martsan. It's too complex for me to answer, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for now. Maybe put it in the comments below and I'll try to figure out how to answer it. Let's see. Cecilia from Argentina says, "Hi Bob, is this correct? We need a plan to leave the quarantine gradually. I am not sure about leave the quarantine. Thank you so much. Take care." So right now, places are quarantined, or people are quarantined, so they need to stay in their house and they can't leave. Usually that's for 14 or 15 days, and usually you are in quarantine until you test negative, and then you are cleared to be out of quarantine. Usually you don't leave quarantine gradually. When you leave something gradually, like you do it a little bit at a time. So maybe what they're saying is that if you are in quarantine, you need to gradually start reconnecting with people when you are done your quarantine. So maybe at the end of 14 days, you can interact with your family. And then maybe after a few more days, you can start to go back to work or something like that. So, but when you do something gradually, it means you do it like one step at a time and slowly. That's usually quite helpful. Let me get to the next question. Let me clean up my questions here for a sec. There we go. Hoffen says, "How do I increase my reading speed, and how can I memorize all the words I jot down, knowing that I underline still 6 words in every chapter?" So obviously there's 2 things happening here. You need to maybe slow down on the number of words you're trying to learn. Hopefully you're reading something where even though there's new words, you can still get the gist of it, or you can still understand what's happening without looking up too many words, okay? If you feel that looking up too many words is slowing you down, whatever you are reading might be too difficult for you, okay? Although 6 words per chapter isn't bad. Actually, you probably should be looking up more. And then I wouldn't worry about learning to read faster. I think that will come eventually, okay? And you're welcome, Cecilia. I see your thank you in the chat there saying thank you so much, Bob. You are very welcome. So don't worry about your reading speed. Just keep reading. The more you read, the faster you will get at reading. Let's see here. Next question is a grammar question, so I'm going to skip it. I usually skip complex grammar questions because you're better off just watching a video about that. So here we go. Next question is from Giselle. "Would you mind to make videos about clothes? There are so many. The next one can be about spring collection." Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I wear short sleeves all year though, so I don't really have a spring collection. But I will. I'll make sure that I write that down. I should make a video about clothing at some point, and I should do something fun. There was a video where when I snapped my fingers, my clothes would change. I should do a video kind of like that, but talk about clothes. Let's see here. Vivian Chen, "Could you talk more about homeschooling?" Thank you very much. Sure. In Canada, you are allowed to teach your kids yourself, okay? Kids do not have to go to school. Over 90% of kids or more go to school every day. I don't know the exact number, but some parents decide to teach their kids themselves. So some families homeschool. That's how we say it. You know, I knew a family that homeschooled their kids. The family down the road actually homeschools their kids. So the mom or dad becomes the teacher every day, and those kids learn at home. They buy materials and lesson plans off the internet, and they teach their kids themselves. So when you are homeschooled, you don't go to school, but you still have lessons every day. And you are still, I think, required... yeah, I think you're still required to do a government test, but I'm not sure. But also... what was I going to say? Oh, also many people homeschool younger children in Canada, but not as many parents homeschool high school aged kids. I don't know the exact number, but it is very common with little kids for people to homeschool them. Let's see here. I wonder how popular homeschooling is in other countries. Let's see here. Eligio German. "Hello, Teacher Bob. I am from Baja, California, Mexico. How long do you think will last the situation of the coronavirus pandemic around the world? Thank you." So I made some corrections while I read that. Sorry if that sounded a little stilted. I don't know how long it will last. I hope that everyone listens to their governments. I hope everyone is staying home. I hope everyone is social distancing, so staying 6 feet or 2 meters away from other people. I hope when people are sick, they are not going out. So hopefully it ends soon. We'll have to wait and see, though. I think, though, we're 3 or 4 weeks away from this being over, and maybe as long as 3 or 4 months. We'll see. Eli says, hi Bob, how are you doing? I'm doing good, Eli, thanks for asking. What does gnarly mean? So first of all, gnarly starts with a G, but you don't say it, so it's gnarly. Could you give some examples? It'd be great. It's great to be here again, thanks so much. Yes, it's great to see you. Gnarly is just an expression like cool. We don't use it a lot. I think it was used by like surfers a long time ago. They would say, oh, something's gnarly, like, oh, that big wave that I surfed on was gnarly. Or they would say something like, oh, I got a new surfboard and it's gnarly. So I don't use the word gnarly very often, but it means the same as cool. That's my take on it. Hi, Bob. Can you explain the word interesting? Thank you. Well, if you are watching this video, it is probably because you find it interesting. It is something that interests you. When you are watching this, you are learning some new English and you are interested in learning the English language. You find the English language interesting. Okay, so there was a bunch of questions there for you. A bunch of example sentences there for you. I hope that helped quite a bit. Annette from Quebec has the next question. La Belle Provence. Annette from Quebec. Hi, Teacher Bob. Hi, Annette. Thanks a lot for your generosity. You are very welcome. Could you explain the difference between to permit, to allow, and to enable, take care? So when I permit my children to play outside, it means that I am letting them. I'm saying it's okay. Let me scroll back here. When I allow my children to play outside, it means the same thing. So when you permit someone or when you allow someone to do something, it means the same thing. When you enable someone to do something, though, it means you help them to be able to do it, okay? So when I go and buy my kids bicycles, I do that so that I can enable them to play outside and ride their bike. So I've done something to help them. When you enable someone, it means that you are doing something to help them do it. Thanks, Annette. I hope everything is going well over there in your province. Let's see here. John. Oh, something weird happened here. Just a sec. Let's see here. And by the way, hi, Dave. I see you in the chat. Dave and Todd are working hard. It's good to have Dave back. So we are running at full steam again. New technology seems to be working. Them do it. Thank you. Yes, Dave is back from his trip. Dave and Todd are working hard. So thank you for being there. That's awesome, guys. Let me see. Next question. John, is online teaching your students mandatory in Canada these days? So I teach at a private school. For me, it is mandatory. It is my job right now to teach online. That's where I teach right now, that computer behind me. For our public school teachers, they will be required to start online teaching, I think, in 1 or 2 weeks. So the government-funded schools, the public schools in Ontario, are currently still closed. But I'm at a school that is open. Just want to say hi to Carolyn Wang, who is in the chat. Hi, Carolyn. You'll notice her name is green and she has a crown because she is a member. So thank you, Carolyn, for being a member of the channel. And thank you to all the other people who have clicked that join button to help support me. I know there's a bunch of you out there, Lolly and Rachel and Vitali, and I'm going to forget someone now, Isabella. Thank you. And Engine, Kalak, thank you very much. Injin is asking about the Quizlet set. So Injin, I only make Quizlet sets when it makes sense. And hi, Maria Rosa, who is also a member there. So the video from last week, there was no Quizlet set because there was no good way to make one. But I think next week's video will have a Quizlet set for you to practice. Hi, FA. Let me go and get the next question. Ilya, here we go. Ilya says, hello, dear teacher. I am really interested in passive continuous tenses. How can I use it correctly? So instead of teaching passive tenses and past continuous, you should just find YouTube videos that teach that, okay? It's very hard to explain in a live lesson, so please do that. I think that is the best way to do it. I'm going to try something a little bit different in just a moment. We're going to keep going, but let me get the next question. Let's see here. Halim from Indonesia. Hi, Bob. Thanks for teaching us. In your point of view, do you mind if a stranger tries to communicate even though their grammar isn't quite good or proper? I love it when people try to speak English to me. I just love it. It's really cool. It's neat. And when people make mistakes, I don't always correct them. If someone is speaking English and they make mistakes and they ask me to correct them, I will correct them. But generally, I don't. Okay, so generally, when people are speaking to me, if I can understand what they're saying in spite of the fact that they are making mistakes, that's great for me. So for the last 10 minutes of the live stream, I'm going to try something here. I'm not sure how much people will like it, but I am going to set the chat to members only. Let's see if that actually works. I don't know if that will work, but I thought that if I do a live stream for 1 hour, maybe for the last 10 minutes, or maybe I'll actually go longer than 1 hour in the future. But right now the chat is only available to people who are members, and I will take questions straight from the chat now. So hopefully that's okay with all of you. If you realize now that you can't chat, I apologize, but I thought it would be fun for those who help to support my channel just to have a little bit of time where I can talk straight from the chat. So if you asked questions in the form, I probably won't get to them. We'll do this for about 7 or 8 minutes and then we will wrap things up. So Maria Rosa says, hi Teacher Bob, I sent you a card from my town, Lodi. You'll get it soon. Thank you very much, Maria. That is awesome. Isabel Lopez says, it's working, only appears the members. Awesome. I hope people don't feel left out and I hope this doesn't cause anxiety. I am not planning to do this for all of my live streams, like for the duration. And I actually think it might be better if I do my normal length live stream of 1 hour next week and then turn on members only for 10 minutes afterwards so that everyone still gets the same amount of lesson. And then the members get a little bit of extra time. But this is a cool test, so thank you. So Isabel says it's working. Vitaly says, oh, class struggle. I know, I feel bad, Vitaly, because basically I have said to people, if you don't pay, you can't chat right now. But again, I will fix that later. Lolly Lolly has a question. What's the difference between sensible and sensitive? Thank you. So if I'm sensible, it means I'm logical. So I get a glass of water every time I do a live stream because it's sensible. It's a good thing to do, to have water ready. But if I was to say that I am sensitive, it means that when people share things with me, I feel emotions about that, okay? So if you are a sensitive person and someone says that they broke up with their girlfriend, you feel sad. When someone says that they had a new baby, you feel happy because you are a very sensitive person. Let's see here. FA says, what's the difference between recommend and suggest? When you recommend something to someone, it is the same as suggesting it to them. Okay, so if I say, I recommend you drink tea with honey, if you have a sore throat, I could also say, I suggest that you drink tea with honey if you have a sore throat. Let's see here. Isabel Lopez says, I also send you a card. I hope you received it. So I haven't been able to check my mail lately, but I will make sure I go and check my mail maybe in 1 week. We need to go get groceries in about 1 week. I will stop and check as well. Let's see here. Vitaly says, I was joking. Everything is okay. Oh, awesome, Vitaly. Thank you very much. But it is an interesting thing to mention that if I do members only chat at the end, I need to remember that all of the other people watching are very special to me as well. But it's cool to see that I can do this at the end of each live stream. Gulshan Kidirova has become a member. Thank you very much, Gulshan. That's awesome of you. You can now participate in the chat at the end of the live stream. Can Todd and Dave, can you guys both say hello in the chat so I can make sure you can still function right now? And then let's see here. Lolly says, merci, Bob. You are very welcome, Lolly. Vitali says, I was joking. Excellent. So do members who are here have any questions? If not, I'm probably going to switch the chat back over to allow everyone to talk again. But if you have any questions, you have just a couple seconds right now to ask it. Dave says hello, so Dave can still do it. And Todd, I think, had already said hello earlier. So Dave and Todd, just so you know, I'm going to turn back on the chat for everyone in a moment. So that test worked really good. Let's see here. And I'm going to click save and we'll see if chat goes back to normal. So there we go. So for those of you who realize I just had chat for members only for a bit, here's how that will work going forward. I will do, usually on Fridays, I do a 45-minute lesson and the chat is open to everyone. Starting next week, I will do about a 35 to 40-minute lesson normally. And then at the end, I will add an extra 10 minutes for questions just from members in the chat, okay? So that's the plan. And for my Saturday live stream like today, I will do about 50 to 55 minutes where the chat is open. And for those who are members, I will do a special session. We'll keep going at the end for another 5 or 10 minutes where you can ask questions directly in chat. Everyone can still watch the lesson, okay? It's just the chat that is changing. So I think that's just a good way to do it. I think it's helpful for all of the people who help support my channel, just to give them a little, they thank me and it's a little thank you back to them. Let's see here. Amelia from Taiwan has the next question. I'm just gonna do a few questions and we'll wrap this up. Let's see here. Amelia from Taiwan. Hi, Bob. Is there any difference between I found I forgot the umbrella and I found I had forgotten the umbrella? Which one would you use more often? So I don't know which one, but I would use both. So I could say, the other day I was walking and I found I had forgot my umbrella. I would probably just say I had forgotten my umbrella, but I could say I found I had forgotten the umbrella. I could say I found I forgot the umbrella. Yeah. You know, here's what you're more likely to say. You're more likely to say, I found that I had forgotten to bring my umbrella, or I found that I had forgotten my umbrella or the umbrella. So I found that, okay? I added the word that. So there you go. Let's get to the next question. Let's see here. This is a good question. So Charlo Asibo, hello, Mr. Bob. I just want to ask something. What's the difference between quarantine and isolation? So these words are being used to mean the same thing, but technically a quarantine is when you are told that you have to stay home and you are forced to do it. And isolation is when you choose to not go out. But right now we are using the term self-quarantine and the term self-isolation to mean almost the same thing. Generally, you self-quarantine if you are sick, and you self-isolate if you think you might be sick. But the news is using both terms to mean the same thing. Essentially, if you self-quarantine or self-isolate, you are choosing to stay home, okay? If you are in a hospital, though, they might put you in quarantine or they might put you in isolation, and then it means almost exactly the same thing. Let's see here. Next question is from Andre. Hi, Bob. What's the difference between two forms? You said you would do it and you said you were going to do it. Thanks so much. Take care. They mean the same thing. The second phrase is a little more informal. If I said to someone, you said you would do it, or I said, you said you were going to do it, it means exactly the same thing. But yes, the second one is a little more informal because you're using gonna. But you could say, you said you were going to do it. That would make it formal, and it still means the same thing. Let me get the next question here. Oh, this is from Eidos from Kazakhstan. Hello, Teacher Bob. What's the difference between shadow and shade? So the way I like to explain this one is if you stand under a tree and the sun is shining, you are in the shade, okay? If you walk along and you look down and you see your outline on the ground, we would call that a shadow, okay? So shade is generally when you stand beside a building or under a tree to get out of the sun. We would call that shade. Oh, let's go stand in the shade. Let's stand over under this tree in the shade. But if I'm walking along in the sun, I could say, oh, I can see my shadow. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Let's go to Doreen from Taiwan. Let's see here. Doreen from Taiwan. Hi, Bob. We usually write best regard at the end of a mail. What can I write at the end of a postcard? Thank you. You can write almost anything you want because a postcard is more informal, okay? So if you were to say something like, I hope all is well, thanks again for everything, you know, Bob the Canadian, that kind of thing. If you were sending a postcard to me, you could say, thanks, have a good day, and then your name. That would work, yes. But when you're writing a letter, you usually end with best regards or sincerely yours, those kinds of things. So let's go to Dror Devash. Let's see. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, Dror Devash. In October, I lost my camera in Niagara Falls. Where can I put a message that if someone found it, he can message me? I don't know, okay? Little correction though, use the word massage instead of message. A massage is when someone massages you, and message is with an E. So I don't know. I'm sorry about that. That is very, very unfortunate for you that you lost that. So hey folks, what we're gonna do here right now is I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. I'm going to switch the chat over to members only again, just for another couple of minutes to see if there are any last minute questions. But thank you so much to all of you who are here and watching. Again, I am just going to open up. If there's any questions in the next minute or two, I will answer them. Otherwise, we are done. You did a good job. Thank you so much for watching. So are there any members who have questions? Please punch them in right now. I know this is a bit of a surprise that I just turned that back on again, but when Bob the Canadian gets new features, he likes to play around with them. Vitaly says, next Tuesday lesson, massage with Bob the Canadian. Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but yes, I think I already said I would do a video on how to do a job interview. I think that might be the next one. So anyways, I know when I turned members only chat on, it took away the ability for all of you to say thank you, but I'm sure those of you that aren't able to chat right now are saying thank you in your minds. Vitaly says, thanks for the lesson. Lolly Lolly says, goodbye, Bob. Take care of yourself. So anyways, let me turn regular chat back on so that if some of you want to say thank you or goodbye, and we are going to end this lesson now. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, tomorrow there will be English subtitles. If you want to watch parts of this again to improve your listening, that is a great idea. If you did not watch yesterday's video about COVID-19 coronavirus, search that up on my channel. If you yeah, I just lost my train of thought. That happens when you talk for an hour. I should just say thank you and goodbye. Have a good weekend. Have a good day. There will be a new video up on Tuesday for all of you. But thanks again for watching. I'm going to push the button now that stops this live stream. And I'm pushing all the wrong buttons now. There's the button. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.